Okay, to start we need a piece of wood. This is some African Blackwood. It's very strong wood, very well suited to making rings, finishes really nicely. Just going to chop a piece off. And then we need to put a hole in it. And I'm just going to roughly shape it on the belt sander. Don't need to worry too much about getting it accurate at the moment. And I need to open out the hole that I drilled a little bit. So I'm just going to get some sandpaper, a bit of double-sided tape, going to stick it to this mandrel, and then I can use that to sand out the inside of the hole. So there's a jolt mark on the ring just so I can make sure I'm doing full rotations rather than only sanding one half, and then it gets out of shape. I've sanded it out to the size I want. I'm just going to finish it off with some nice fine sandpaper. This is the chuck I normally use, but this ring's not going to fit on there. It's a pinky ring for a lady with quite small fingers, so I'm just going to take this socket and put a bit of masking tape on so I can get a friction fit on there, which works pretty well. It's not as accurate as a proper chuck, but it does the job. I'm just going to run a chisel across this and just get it down to being nice and square. And shape it into a ring. These ones have a slightly curved outside surface. You have to keep them fairly chunky, solid wood rings. And a bit of sandpaper just to smooth everything out. Make it ready for the next stage. Once that's done, just going to have a quick tidy up. Always good to keep your workspace clean and tidy. Just ignore the mess in the back of my workspace there. And this is the chisel for cutting the inlay channel. It's one I made out of a old drill bit. Good source of high-speed steel if you need to make the occasional tool. So I'm just going to cut this to maybe millimetre and a half deep. And then it's ready for inlay. So, blob of super glue, or I think it's called crazy glue in the States, and some crushed turquoise. And you just dollop a little in, give it a bit of a tamp down, shake off the excess, and rinse and repeat all the way around. Blob of glue. Make sure it's soaking through, and then just keep on going. This method works for anything you can crush up to fit into a gap. Semi-precious stones, even precious stones. A lot of stuff will lose its colour, so you're a bit restricted. I've done amethyst and stuff, it just comes out clear, which is a shame. There we go, run that around, make sure there's plenty of glue so it's all the way soaked through, make sure there aren't any gaps, and leave it to set. You can spray it with an accelerant at this point, but I like to just leave it for half an hour, 40 minutes. And then once that's done, you just have to sand it back to flat. The combination of super glue and crushed stone takes its toll on the sandpaper. It's a fairly hard mixture, but you get through it eventually and you can see the shape of it coming through now. And once that's been sanded back to 1000 grit, I'm going to give it a finishing coat of super glue. remembering to do the inside as well. And I'll probably do 10 to 15 coats, thin coats, before the next stage, which is just sanding that back gently with some wet sandpaper. That's 600 grit. That's just to make sure that the surface of the super glue is good and flat. Before we go on to this stage, which is the final polish. This is a plastic polish which you can get from any automotive place. They use it for polishing headlights and that sort of thing. And just lots of polish, let the polish do the work. In a minute you'll see why we use kitchen paper, because it tears. If that had been cotton, it could have pulled my hand into the lathe and caused all sorts of damage. But you can see the polish starting to come through now. There's a reflection of the light, so a good glossy finish. It'll hold up for years of abuse. This rings get a lot of wear, so it's good to make sure they're finished with something good and strong. A last quick check to make sure everything's in order, and that's it. That's your stone inlaid Blackwood ring